Are
Are we
we?
there? Are we there? I think we are. Is it live? Oh, it says
We're
live.
live. Yeah.
Hi-oh. Yeah. All right. We're live. I'm going to click the like button so it'll pop up in my Twitter. And
And then I should share it on Twitter. Is this how everybody starts their streams?
oh, I just fast forwarded out of my show. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, this is how everyone from Tin Street starts their streams. We just slowly grind our friends into dust. We did it to Zuby. It only took us less than a year, but no, Zuby did his thing and he's taking a break, and maybe he'll come back and maybe he'll go on to other things. But we wish him the best. But today on Cackling Carnarium, we are going to be talking about a Ravnica themed cube. And I reached out to Milo after he popped on the Tin Street with us a couple months ago, when we were talking about the Ravnica Allegiances set. And I was hoping that we could talk a little more. Like, we brought him on because this was the kind of like the final installment for 3 full blocks of Ravnica. So I was hoping we could talk about some Ravnica cube and some concepts, but we're rubes in terms of figuring out how many top whatevers we should be counting with 5 guest hosts, all that stuff. So we ran out of time, but I still want to talk about a Ravnica themed cube because I thought about this a year ago when they first announced our return to Ravnica, and I wanted to talk about what it would look like, and I wanted to get an expert in here who knew what they were talking about. So we've been chatting back and forth here, but let me introduce you to Milo the Great, Milo from Milo the Gathering. He is a cube aficionado and has been so for a long time. I've been a fan of your content for many years at this point. My favorite thing about your videos, I love the music. It takes me back to the days when I lived in Manhattan and I was working down there, and there was DSW shoe store, and they just had the just like that. This was.
You know what? It's actually funny that you mentioned it, because I started by using the Kagan McLeod stuff that everybody uses, and then I just did some searches for some royalty-free music, and then I started contacting the guy, and he actually wrote a song for me that I use called Magic Cards.
Are you kidding me? That's
yeah.
Holy crap, that's fantastic.
He lives in France somewhere, but he's cool.
So that's your thing. That's so cool. Oh man, I went looking. I think I looked at some of that royalty free stuff and I was like, oh, could I use this? No, I'm not that cool. That and yeah. I can only live stream because I don't have time for editing, because that's my life.
Oh, it's too much. It's not worth it.
Let's do a quick little breakdown for anybody who's watching, and the reason, part of what I want to do with this stream, people can pop in and for live stream, but more than anything, I want it to be kind of a reference point and something that people can go back to even years from now, as it hides in this one little dark corner channel of mine here on YouTube. But it's just something that we can talk about the concept, and it can be a piece of discussion that still stays relevant over time. And that's why I want to talk about I want to pick Ravnica, because we've got 3 full sets to deal with. But you can do like plain specific cubes. People have done it with Innistrad and just basic Innistrad cards from the first Innistrad installment. But Ravnica has so much to pull from, and I just wanted to really see if we could have a discussion about this. And I guess I'm interested. Let's talk about, first, what is a cube? Milo, give us a quick breakdown of what to expect from a cube.
So, there's so many different cubes now. It's hard to say, but the old way of cube and the origins of cube were creating a limited environment of the best cards in Magic's history. So it was more of, I think it came from a lack of money more than anything else. Players wanted to play more limited, but they didn't want to pay for packs, so they kind of built their own set. That's my understanding of how cube started. But yeah, there's I've been playing it. I built mine in I believe Legions. That's when I built my first cube, and because there was going to be a rotation, so I was like, oh, all my cards are worthless. What can I do with them?
Let's turn them into something useful.
Yeah.
I had 1 cube ever, and I was one of these. I was like,
was it from Target? Was it the one from Target?
No, this is a
That's a good
homemade.
cube.
That
That's a
cube.
good cube.
You mean the one the professor's saying, don't buy this garbage?
Yeah,
That
on
cube?
my channel, we're just promoting it. It is the best cube in history. What a great buy.
So I had built a 750 card cube, not including the basic lands, and I sleeved it all in glossy dragon shields. And the problem was I don't have time to play cube. Like it's you easily need what, at least a 4-hour stretch of time to really do anything with it. More like 5 when you talk about prep.
And you need like 3 other players every time. You can't just play 1v1, really.
Yeah.
You can, but it's not as fun.
Yeah. So it was a matter of finding the people, finding the time. It just never happened. And I eventually took that cube and turned it into commander decks. And because those sleeves just needed to be used. So I think why don't we go ahead? I'm gonna share. We've got the link in the description for the video, so if anybody shows up now or shows up later, you can go right over and draft this cube. But I'm going to screen share here, and we're going to just show this cube in action. Share that screen. Share it all day long. So we'll do a little play test here. So this is the Ravnica cube that Milo says we put it together. Milo did a lot of the grunt work. I came in late on a Saturday night and be like, these are some ideas that would be good. And like a good Magic player, I told someone else how to build their thing. But ultimately,
so I do want to mention that tons of people have built amazing Ravnica themed cubes. We're not the first ones to do this, but I want to go into it like I didn't. Like no other Ravnica cube existed, and I just looked at every card and started pulling cards that are good and limited until I got like more than enough for a cube, and then we started trimming it down.
So the list you initially started with, you basically handpicked the cards from all of the history of Ravnica.
Yeah.
And
so
then,
I pulled up Scryfall and I went through every single card in every Ravnica set. And I picked any card that I thought I would draft in limited if there was support for it. And then we started trimming it down.
All right. So what did you tell us about this cube? This Ravnica cube, what are like the archetypes? What were the focal points that you wanted to work on? Like how did you craft this together? You found your limited favorites, but you knew you had to kind of taper it down to something. So what did you come
right? Absolutely. So then you start cutting like narrow cards, and then you see what comes up, right? And usually, what I do at this point is like I'll get it to a certain number, and then I'll just draft it like 20 times and see like what cards are getting last picked every time, what doesn't work with any synergies that I try to build, and also the synergies that people remember drafting in all of the different Ravnica sets. Like I feel like I would be doing a disservice to a Ravnica themed cube if you couldn't draft a Gates deck. You know what I mean? Because some people remember it. They have the nostalgia, the attachment to a Gates deck. Like, sure, there's going to be new decks and archetypes that form over time, or sorry, because you're, smushing cards together that weren't designed to be together in the same limited format. So there are going to be like 2-card combos and weird things like that. But I definitely wanted people who have drafted a Ravnica set to be able to go in there and be like, there's the archetype I remember, Rakdos isn't going to be a control deck all of a sudden,
So, how is this? Did I screw up the screen share? All right. So, like let's talk about Gates. Like Gates got a whole lot of support when Gates got a ton of support when it came out to the second setup, like this last installment. So, what were your favorite old Gate synergies and some of the new Gate synergies that you wanted to put in here?
So there's not a lot in terms of the old Gate synergies. I really like the 0-2 wall. I don't know if you remember that one from Return to Ravnica. It's a 0-2, comes into play, search your library for a gate, or it's like rampant growth with a 0-2, and you could choose gates as well.
Yes, I remember that. Something creeping, like a vine thing.
Yeah, so there's that card that's quite good when you mix it with the other stuff. We put Maze's End in.
Yeah.
And I'll talk more about that in a second. But another card that I remember from the original Ravnica set that didn't get a lot of play, but is way better now with more support, is Crackling Parameter. That's the tap a gate to. It's an enchantment for like 1 and a red. Tap a
Yes,
gate to deal 1 damage to your opponent.
I saw that, and
That card's nutty. If you get like 10 gates, you start going off with Crackling Parameter. Whoa.
I jumped in here and I did a test run, and I saw Crackling Power. I was like, oh, hey, okay, I'm gonna play Gates. I just windmilled that, and I was like, yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Now I will say that I felt like I was worried that Gates wasn't going to be viable. So what we did, and we talked about this was a point of contention. We can talk about it. Maybe if you find this video and you feel a different way about it later, you should leave a comment. But I wanted to put 2 of each gate in the cube, because that people who aren't necessarily playing Gates still take Gates, right, to fix their mana, especially with 3-color decks being very good in this format.
Yeah, so it's funny. Like I went looking at the cube, and it was it did this thing where it breaks it down into, you had the guilds breakdown in Cube Tutor, but then you get to the bottom and it goes into the shard and wedge breakdowns too. So it was throwing me off, like, why has it got 202 or like 209 of the guilds? And I was like, oh, that's why, because you've got this weird breakdown at the end. Where was I going with all that? Let's go back to this.
And we also like Ravnica is a guild themed world, right? So I doubled the amount of gold cards in each guild from like a normal cube or the cube that I'm used to. So usually I run about 10 for each guild, and this one we added 20 to make multicolor more of a theme.
So now tell us about like how you use Cube Tutor for all of your. I mean, it's the only real resource we have for building a pre-constructing and something like this. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as I know.
And like the AI, how does that do its thing?
I don't know how the AI works, I'll be honest. I have no idea. And it's honestly I know it's the more you draft it, the more it learns. And like if you can get other people to draft it, it gets better in terms of rating picks. But I don't know exactly how it works.
Okay, so
it's a lot. I mean, it's not going to play out exactly like a Cube Tutor draft every time, right?
Like, no, and I was thinking about the numbers. Like when this settled on like 537 cards, I was thinking about
that's not a choice.
That's what we got to. It turns out you need more than a couple of weeks to really like fine tune something like this.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and I would be okay having a loose number to begin with. And then if this was a real cube, I would actually bring it out and start drafting it and see what happens. And then you can make trims. Like, it's like you're running a baseball team, right? In Major League Baseball. And a bunch of people are really close to making the cut, right? So they stay on an extra week and they get some more time on the field to see what they're like. And then you can make your cuts. You see what archetypes are maybe too good, dominating. Like if the same archetype wins 3 weeks in a row, you can change it.
And did you feel like did you feel like there were any archetypes or any mechanics that were just kind of a trap? Like if anybody's looking at doing something like a Ravnica cube and doing this fresh, what are some of the traps that they should try and avoid as far as mechanics or synergies that maybe aren't strong enough to do what they think they want them to do?
I mean, that's a great question, and I'm sure my answer would change if I had actually drafted it and played it a lot more. I think that when you're making you have a limited selection of cards, and you're trying to make archetypes viable, control usually does well, especially if it's a slower format, since there's not a lot of it's not like you have a wider selection of cards. You have a very small selection of cards to choose from. So where was I going with that? Oh yeah, often people think that aggro isn't viable in formats like this, and so I drafted it purposely trying to get a solid feel for what Rakdos or Boros might look like, having, not, you don't have duplicates, there's no consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I found that I was still very impressed. Like those added extra, because you're playing with a lot more rares than you are in a normal draft. You get to see a lot more of the powerful Rakdos stuff and the powerful Boros stuff come up. And I think that 3-color aggro is also viable in this cube. So I think it's pretty solid. I actually really like a Boros strategy, and then having the Rakdos like drain a life when creature dies, or like there's Lizolda from the original Dissension, I think, and this new one, what's her name? The all your creatures get +1/+0, and when they die, you deal 1 damage to a target.
Judith.
Judith, yeah. And
Judith,
those
yeah.
are really honestly, those two together, those are soul sisters for sure.
Yeah. And I definitely like looking at some of the lists. I saw some of these old cards that had been completely fallen off my radar. Like these are some. There's a lot of nice history in the old Ravnica cards because you go all the way back. The first Ravnica set came out in what, 05? Is that about
Yeah,
sound
probably
about
something
right?
like that. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of time that goes into that in history in this set. Like they had all kinds of weird stuff. Like was there like when I looked through it, I felt like a mechanic like Hellbent. That seemed like one that just might not cut it, or that was like an easy one to kind of pitch because it's when you go through the whole history of Ravnica, some sets definitely had weaker mechanics. Like
Oh,
Cypher
for sure.
tends to be like in Demir, it was Cypher. That was one of the weaker mechanics that they ever got dealt. The first installment they had Transmute, which was a really cool tutor mechanic, but it's very kind of specific.
Narrow. Yeah.
Yeah, a very narrow tutoring. And then then they just slammed it with the surveil mechanic, which was super busted. That just made everything happen and work. It was amazing. So like
Absolutely. Like, and the other thing is that a lot of these mechanics tend to like when you're building a 3-color deck, just say you're building Jund and you had a bunch of Rakdos stuff with Unleash. Unleash worked really well with a lot of green cards that say if your creature has a +1/+1 counter against trample, or like you splash it with, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the mechanics actually do have synergy with each other.
yeah,
And that's kind of where you find your wedges and your shards.
that kind of like putting an unleashed deck together and then throwing in what was that rhythm of the what's that new one? The new Riot
Oh yeah,
enchantment.
yeah.
Oh,
Exactly. The Rhythm of the Wild.
so busted. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Riot really like when I was still playing a bit of Arena, Riot really kind of snuck in there as like, yeah, this does work. Holy cow. Like I enjoyed that Riot mechanic.
I do too. I think Riot's a great mechanic, and I really liked Unleash too. Those creatures are costed effectively for
Yeah.
Unleash a lot of the
I
time.
even I used Cackling Fiend as a budget sub-in for Goblin Guide when I was building my modern burn. So like even though he was a little slower, it was like a 2/2 for 1, and that's all he needed. That was perfect.
Right on. Yeah, definitely. Also, like Dredge is really good with Surveil,
Oh
right?
god. Yeah. It's like, look, I just drafted Legacy Dredge. Yay.
Yeah, it's there was a lot of really fun things to find while I was taking a look at the cards and the mechanics.
So what
How about
would
you? Did you get a chance to draft it?
I tried drafting a little bit of I tried one. I tried doing that Gates thing. And
It's
it
tough,
was
right?
it was a hot mess. I was just like, there's a gate. What's this? Oh, I like this card. There was no synergy. I was just picking whatever colors. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't drafted in so long. I'm the worst. Like if anybody's trying to send signals at a table and I'm there, nope. Sorry. You can't do it. I'm gonna wreck your plan because it's like
That's okay. And that's what they call gates, right?
yeah.
When you go, oh my god, what did I do? What did I draft? I drafted a pile. Just tell people you're going for gates. Less embarrassing.
uh, So, did you get anything like when you did some drafting, or should we like kind of do a little draft here while we're talking and see what we come up with and talk about
Sure.
what we built?
Actually, a funny story before we get to it. I was at a GP like a couple months ago or whatever, and there was the last draft of the weekend, and all these like these like rares kept coming around. I just kept drafting them, and my draft was just a hot mess. I couldn't do anything, and I knew that I had to go film an interview, so I couldn't play anyway. And so when it was done, I revealed my deck and I was like trying to build it. And my opponent or the person across from me was like, drafted Gates. I had no Gates. I was like, that is, now I know what someone who's not pregnant feels like when somebody's like, hey, are you pregnant?
Wow.
I know what that feels like. I don't.
Wah, wah. All right. So let's see. Do you know how to share a screen?
I do.
You do?
Do you
All
want me
right.
to draft?
We could, but you want to do one? I'll do one. We'll be like, who comes up with what?
At the same time?
Is that too? Okay,
Let's
you're right.
do
That
it.
might
I don't care.
tandem draft. I got one pulled up here. Let me go screen share here. Or maybe that's manic. We should talk it through.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
do one,
okay.
and then we'll talk it through.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, glad we coordinated this. All right, let's go present.
Gates!
All the gates. All right. I think there's a thing. Present. Okay. All right, Milo. What do you? Let's take a look at this and see. Let's talk about. Oh, open the gates. Yeah, you say gates, and like here it is. It's like open the gates. Search your library for a land or gate card. Basic land or gate card. All right.
Yeah. What else we got here? That Savage-born Hydra is really good, and the Consuming Aberration is really good too.
Hang on, I'm getting reacquainted with a Consuming Aberration. So, like, if
that
what do you think here? Like, are we talking like?
I mean, it really comes down to preference, I think, between these two. With the Consuming Aberration, like, I think the mill deck is. I don't know if the mill deck's there. If you want, we can take it and try to see if we can figure out a mill strategy, because that is a really powerful mill card. Even if that's the only one in your deck, you would still play it.
So, like,
because do you remember what the mill thing was for Dimir? It was you reveal cards until you hit a land and all of them go to the graveyard. So it's actually a pretty reasonable strategy in a 40 card format.
All right,
but if you want to go green red, beat the guys in the face, we could do that too.
And then Rurik, is this like kind of a trap for first pick?
No, but I would take the Signet before I would take Rurik, I think.
Okay.
So I think my pick here, I would personally go Consuming Aberration, although I do think Savage-born Hydra is the pick, and then probably Gruul Signet to the next.
Okay. All right.
Pick.
Then I think, you know what? I don't. Well, let's go Consuming Aberration, because I'm going to break out of my comfort zone here.
Sure, let's do it. Let's draft a mill deck.
Draft mill, and then maybe we'll go Grixis. Or is this getting too greedy? Because it's like we're going.
Do you like it? If you like it, go for it.
He's like, just do whatever you want, man. It's all good. Let's see.
Oh, you would take that Savage Twister if you took that other thing.
I know. Well, I mean, is it too late to go? Oh, but wait. So Viral's. Remind me. Whenever a card is, whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals a land card. Then okay. Now I'm seeing the big picture here. Now I'm getting it.
But hey, honestly, if you want to go with Niv Mizzet, we can make something silly. But we have to grab every Signet we see.
Oh, from here on out. So if we go Niv, we have to grab, if whatever it is, we gotta grab a Signet.
Yeah, we do. We gotta definitely be able to cast our spells.
All right, let's go greedy. All right, Signet check. No, your castle AI bots.
Oh, start from the beginning again.
What? Oh, you. Well, it's has been the night of system restarts anyway, so yay! Okay, so we're 2 picks in, and we start all over. Okay, so we are back to pack one, pick one, and is it just me, or does this one feel less exciting than the first pack we saw? Although
I
this guy,
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking
this
too.
this guy is like, I don't even.
Predator seems pretty solid here.
Spawn of Mayhem. The first time I saw him spoil, I was like, yes, that's where we want to go. And then Gatebreaker Ram.
You're so greedy.
I'm like, I don't know. Is this first pickable?
No, I don't think so.
No. Okay. No. We're gonna go with our gut on
I
this one
think Gate Colossus is probably the only one worth first picking to build gates.
because it's not committed to any color.
Well, yeah, and also I think it's got the biggest payoff. I mean the Gatebreaker Ram is I guess okay too, but I don't know. I wouldn't choose to go gates for a Gatebreaker Ram.
Oh
Maybe
my.
I'm wrong.
See, and I didn't know Mausoleum Turnkey was original City of Ravnica. Like I saw this in a conspiracy build and I was like, oh, that's cheeky.
Yeah, it's neat. I would actually cut this card
Yeah.
in the next round of cuts. I don't like it, but
Yeah, okay. All right. So we've got this guy. We're in double black, but let's see. What else do we have to kind of support that? Chain creature gets where access the number of creature cards in its controller's graveyard.
actually like the red car char here.
4 damage. Ah, yeah, it's the red version of Psionic Blast.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'm feeling
But
that. Bernie.
yeah,
And then we get into this pack.
then we don't get any
Then we get
more.
like, here's no support. We could go Golgari Rot Farm if we wanted to go like Jundi.
If you want splash or Voice of Resurgence, no. To four color gates.
Yeah, there we go. Do you have any gates? No, it's okay. They'll come around, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would take Fate's Fetters, or Golgari Rot Farm. I'd probably take the Rot Farm though.
Yeah, this is feeling very Jundi here. So let's see what the next packs do for us. And then we got a Carnarium. Here we go. A Trample Unleash. He's yeah, these are the big boys. And then
yeah, it was gonna be embarrassing. I almost wore the same thing.
You almost wore the same.
Yeah, the suspenders and gimp mask.
You see, this was going to be one of my questions. What would you cosplay at a Ravnica themed draft? There you go.
Blood Fray Giant.
All right.
You got the body for it. You might as well, right?
Yeah, rock that physique. All right, here we go. All right, Blood Fray Giant. Is this? See, he's more of an is it card, isn't he? Gutter Snipe. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if that tabled.
This was when I first saw this went right into a card or Ghost Chief deck, and I love this card. It just seems clunky.
Keep in mind we're playing with 40 card decks.
Right. So this might be making a cut in your rounds.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think between, if we're gonna go Jund, we got Savage Twister, but how do you feel about like Theater of Horrors? I like the idea that this is kind of like draw in red, even though it's really tricky. You have to do damage to make sure you get to draw that card or use it. But is this kind of a pitfall?
No, I mean I've never actually had a chance to play with it, but I would consider taking it here to try it out.
So there we go. Okay, and then Ravager Worm and Lol Troll, and oh man, how did
now Death Rate's not as good because there's no fetch lands.
Okay, so it's just like people get all giddy. It's like, ooh, I get to play with Death Rate and be like, why is this so amazing? I don't get it.
I think we would take it if we were like worried about a Boros deck and we wanted a 1-2 for 1 with upside later.
Okay, so I'm thinking, what do we got? Our top end right now is at 4 CMC. We got some removal. We got some draw. Do we want something like a burning tree or a lull troll, or do we want to go for this guy right here?
Um, I'm okay with any of your picks. I think I personally would take a Ravager Worm, just because I'm not too worried about. But then it's double green. Maybe
There's
Burning
that.
Tree. I think Burning Tree is probably the safest bet.
All right, I'm game
Yeah.
for that. Let's go some burning tree. See,
Oh,
so this
we got
guy's
some good
like,
stuff.
oh, what's that?
Oh, yeah. You see, Mirko Vosk would also be one of the ones that we would want in that mill deck.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. We picked that consuming aberration. It's like I wonder what's that other card? Mirko. That's the one.
Yeah, it's
And they were
pretty
both in the same standard. Just I that was never. I don't think they ever saw standard play.
40 card formats, though. A mill is a serious
Yeah.
beast. I think I like Splatter Thug here. We don't have any 3 drops yet, and it's probably one of the best Rakdos 3 drops. So.
And so yeah, it does that first strikey. All right. We're heavy red black. And honestly, we could stay Rakdos at this point. Like Burning
Yeah,
Tree.
why not?
Yeah. So assuming we can okay, so Ghost Quarter, do you think this is something we need to think about or
I think it's a really good card in the board against the gate stack.
okay. So just to kind of turn off Maze's End or just
Yeah, maybe. Or mess with their colors, right?
yeah, yeah. That one like they have that one gate that splashes for that one color they need and it's
Yeah.
like bloop. Wasteland Viper for like death touch combat shenanigans or
I mean, I like all of the Blood Rush cards. Like, I'm never upset to have a Blood Rush card, right?
yeah, and then we've got Vanilla Riot and Glean Crawler. Now I don't recognize this card. This is from
Oh,
before my
this was
time.
yeah, this was a cube card. It was also, I believe, the pre-release card.
Wow.
It was pretty solid at the time. Like, it was this and Spirit Monger were the best things in cube. At the end of your turn, return to your hand all creature cards. And yeah, see. So
That's
like, yeah.
so you go, yeah, this is End of your turn, return it. Now, does this need to be in play? If like you
Yeah.
want, yeah, it has to be in play. So you can't do like some sneaky after combat stuff. All
Oh
right.
no! I think you can. Yeah, you
oh
go
yeah,
in with the team. Yeah, play that, and you return them all to your hand. But they
I
go to
mean
your hand. They don't come back.
it reads that way, but still,
It is.
it does go even. Yeah, okay, it goes back to your hand, but
It's pretty solid. It used to be
let's
good.
live the dream. I mean, and it's a 6/6
Okay, yeah.
for 6 with trample, so there's that too. Okay, I'm torn between either naturalize or death's approach.
I'd maybe grab the in its controller's graveyard. I'd grab the Death's Approach. I don't think we're gonna end up playing it, but
it's like some, and then we've got illness creature tokens. So that's like a sideboard gig, but that's the only thing in our colors, really.
Yeah, take it. I would be
So
happy.
there it is. Carnarium.
Yep.
And oh yeah, there we go. Go there. So now we're hate drafting. So probably
oh yeah, I don't know how heavy green we're gonna end up being, but
that's
Boggles.
And then Dogpile. Okay.
Yeah, we're not gonna play Dogpile yet. That probably should get cut.
So let's see. We've got just so what we're working on: Spawn of Mayhem, a Rot Farm, Char, Blood Fray Giant. Here's a Theater of Horrors, our Burning Tree, our Splatter Thug, our Ghost Quarter, the Glean Crawler, Death Approach, Illness in the Ranks, Rakdos Carnarium. What was that? Lost. This is the
Profit Loss.
All right, Profit Loss.
And it has Fuse, so you can play them both.
Man, I wish they. I miss Fuse. That was a fun little
adaptation a cool idea.
They had in there. Oh look, it's a Cyclonic Rift.
I would actually be pretty happy with the Gutter Bones. We don't have any one drops yet. We really need to start getting them, and that's probably one of the best ones in Rakdos. So
Yeah, that's nice. All right, and
ooh, we got a Rakdos legend here.
hey now.
See, this is another one that goes really well in Jund. So any green creatures that get counters from being Simic or anything with Riot now has haste already.
That's crazy. Oh my god.
Yeah,
It,
pretty cool, right? I'd take it. Let's just see what happens, huh?
that's a spicy counters lord. All right. Now, let's talk about really as Fury for a second. Just like this card, when I read through it, I thought it was just why was a mythic costing so little as far as money? Is it just because it's that red white X that it never really got in at instant speed?
When this card was spoiled, we were so excited about it. Like we were like, "This is the best X spell ever made." It's very similar to how we felt about Electro Dominance when that was spoiled. We were just as excited for Aurelia's Fury, but it just never had a place in Standard at the time. And keep in mind, like the Sphinx's Revelation was the deck, right?
Yeah, and it was, but
They would run Sphinx's Rev over Aurelia's Fury.
yeah. So now we have. Do you think Utopia Sprawl is worth grabbing to try and pivot a little more into Jund, or are we really hard commitment into Rakdos at this point?
Great question, because a lot of people fall into this trap. If you haven't drafted green heavy already, you shouldn't draft green fixing, because you're not going to splash green for fixing, because that doesn't make sense, right?
Unless you're trying to live the dream. All right, so we've got Rakdos Drake will unleash Flyer.
But if you were going to take the Utopia Sprawl hoping that you would be like a Gruul or like a Golgari deck, then I could see it. I would personally see Delirium Skins was a card that would turn on Hellbent, right?
Delirium Skins, yeah, this would have switched on each player discards 3 cards. This would turn on Hellbent, and it would feel something like it would get Golgari going with oh wow, Dredge, and then any of the Golgari stuff relied on Graveyard. So that's a good one there. I don't know. There wasn't a lot of.
It was also really good with Life from the Loam.
Yeah, that's a spicy meatball. Rakdos Trumpeter. How do you feel about this guy? Like, I like the fact that it's menace and it buffs, even though it's expensive to buff.
I think that if we picked it, it wouldn't be crazy, because this on turn 2 leads to us getting Spawn of Mayhem on turn 3, right? Hopefully they can't block it, and then you get to cast your Spawn of Mayhem. So I could see us trying to run that in our deck.
And our curve is still, we still need some low end on our curve too. So I think that's a good one to go for. Speaking of loam, all right.
Okay. Hey! Loam.
Is this where we splash for green?
Yeah, you got to splash for green to play the 10th Street Hooligan, right?
Right. What? Is it in
right
here?
From the loam, yeah.
There we go.
I think we have to take 10th Street Hooligan, right?
I think we have to. I think just
even if there's a Sol Ring in the pack, we have to go 10th Street Hooligan.
I know. I think because of my contract with Dunning, I have to pick any 10th Street Hooligan ever that I see.
I'm so happy that came up. That's fun.
So there, we're packing. There we go. We're just because reasons. This guy, man, this little uncommon could do so much work.
It can, and Extort works really well with the Spectacle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I liked how this one, when you pay this, what I loved is that this uncommon would wear down planeswalkers too. That was really were there planeswalkers? Did they stay in here? Was Jace in here still?
There are planeswalkers in this cube, but there were none in, like, planeswalkers didn't exist when Ravnica came out. So
So
The first
okay, the
doesn't
first
have
one. Now this might be it's either and then Desecration Demon too. No,
it.
no,
Yeah,
no.
I
I
think
don't.
Throw Parasite is where I want to be because late game, you're still drawing your early stuff, right? You get to hit all those extort triggers.
All right, yeah, and then go chase that Mayhem Dream. Oh my God! So this card
Hmm.
when when on Arena they had that thing where you get to drop 2 lands every time. It was like
Oh
this weird
no,
custom draft. This was in my first pack. I was like, "Yep, there it is. This won me games because I could play 2 lands a turn." It was
at the
insane.
pre-release, I didn't realize it was double X, and I casted it for 7 and took 3 of my opponent's creatures, and he didn't notice either. And I felt
Oh,
really bad about that. Yeah.
didn't notice until like 3 matches later.
Yeah, he never came up to me. I just told my friends, I was like, "Oh, I feel so bad. I feel like I should just leave right now." So
leaving
embarrassed.
leaving shame with your winnings.
Yeah. Oh God.
Pestilence Spirit. This is probably what we got to go with.
I like it. Like I like that it chart kills anything.
Anything
And
that
you
did
know,
any
if
damage. Yeah.
anything that we have that will deal 1 damage, like becomes a a kill shot. Plus the menace helps in combat.
Yeah, so it's a 2-for-1. It kills anything it touches, so it's going to
Yeah,
have to hit yeah, they got to sack 2 creatures just to get rid of it. And
and
they
the
all
more
die.
menace you have in your deck, the way more annoying it is for your opponent who's like, now I need 4 creatures to block 2 creatures. Yeah.
What is my life? All
Ooh,
right.
Basilica's creature, that used to be a first pick in Gate Crash Limited.
And it gets that little extort thing going on too.
Oh, that extort. Glimpse the Unthinkable is a dirty, dirty card.
let's mill. Was it
You
top
see how
10? Yeah.
brutal Mel can be in this cube? It can be
Yeah.
really mean.
Because it's like you only need a couple bomb mill cards in a 40 card format.
If you can cast Glimpse twice, you win. That's it. Like if there's anything that returns it to your hand, like all you have to do is wait. Like I imagine having Consuming Aberration in play and then casting your Glimpse and say, wait for the trigger on the Consuming Aberration before you mill 10.
Wah, wah.
So dirty. Anyway, I think I would go with the Basilica Screecher, but we have a lot of good options here. Ash Zealot is really good too. I used to play that in Standard.
Yeah, that's another one. Like, I wish that whenever plays a spell, I wonder if this has got any kind of legs in Modern at this point in time. I think Graveyard is a thing kind of taking
Yeah,
over Modern at the moment. Like Ash Zealot was one of those cards I looked at. I was like, I wish this did more.
you could push a card like this. Like, I don't think it would completely destroy Modern. Like, if you put in Modern Horizons something like this, except it costs 1 in a red, I think it would be appropriately costed for Modern.
Yeah, but I think for our draft deck, it's probably this guy.
Yeah,
Just
I
so
like
we
it
can.
too. I love that bat.
It's like it's like we're playing Rakdos, kind of.
Ooh,
What's all this
ooh,
extort?
we have some really good options here.
Captive Audience.
You
Oh,
know
but
what Squealing Devil does? Squealing Devil is really good too. It's Howl from Beyond on a creature, and it's a 2/1 fear. So it can only be blocked by red creatures and artifact creatures.
oh
I
wait,
think.
no,
No.
Fear
Black
was
and
Black
artifact.
and
Yeah.
Artifact. This is back before they had Intimidate.
Intimidate is the
Uh,
color.
and then they realized in M15 that Intimidate was too broken. Squeal when it comes to play. Nice.
Put that in the menace creature.
Yeah.
Pow.
Ow. When it play sacrifice unless you pay risk. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
And then also, isn't it more fun to play with some of the older cards?
Yeah,
Too?
it is.
Right? Yeah.
Get them older cards. Oh, how did I gotta turn my head here? Sacrifices.
Not in love. Not in love with it.
Nah, and it just
It is an instant.
It'd be
Both
one.
sides.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it'd be one thing if run if we had like a whole if we were going tokens and run would make sense, but it just hitting the artifact seems. I don't know. You got your blood rush here, so we got a combat trick, or it's a 3/1 for 3.
I like it. I always like Fire Wild Shaman.
Yeah. Oh, it's a sad story. This one got the business end of a boot when I was drafting my cube one time. Somebody like lost track of it and it fell on the floor and it got mashed. It was so sad.
It could have been worse for sure.
Yeah, it
I've
could
heard
have.
about way
Oh,
worse cards getting damaged.
oh, my cube. I made sure that the threshold was $4 or less per card.
Yeah,
I couldn't like draft with strangers with expensive cards. Um,
do whatever
it's
you want.
this seems counterintuitive, but this seems like we're not in Jund though. That's the only thing.
No, I mean you could take whatever you want here. We're not going to play any of these cards.
Oh, well then. Let's deny a Goblin Electromancer. And then the question is Death Touch. So card draw and shenanigans. I like this one, personally.
And if we get the 2-card combo, that could still happen, right? There's still one more pack.
Yeah, I think we're still got one more pack to go. We're not really heavy in gates. Should we just take Loam to say we took Loam?
Sure, yeah.
There we go. Loam wield.
Ooh, that money. Don't spend it all in one place. Judge Beetle.
Little Boros Guild gate to splash
Sure.
for
Yeah.
whatever.
And then also screw the person playing Gates, right?
Yeah. Screw gates. Well, since we went with the Boros Guild gate, now we can get the Cartel Aristocrat.
Yeah, so we're just going to draft cards with names of podcasts in the Magic community.
Illusionist Bracers. I've never heard of that podcast.
It sounds boring.
Oh, here we go. Is this the one you're talking about to go with
Yeah.
Judith? Yeah, I think that might be the way that's the answer. Or yeah, no. That's cute. Oh, okay. So we got to pick between Bedevil
Yeah.
or Lizolda? Liza? How do I pronounce it? Lizzie. Lizzie the Blood Witchy.
The problem is that we actually don't have a lot of gold Rakdos cards. Creatures. Other than Exava, who we don't really want to be sacking.
Oh, so...
Because if it's red, it deals 2 damage to creature or player. If it's black, you draw a card. So if it's black-red, you draw a card and deal 2 damage. So it's really good if you have the support for it. I mean, it's still fine with Gutter Bones, like drawing a card off Gutter Bones every turn.
True.
Or multiple times in the same turn. Can you use Gutter Bones multiple times in the same turn?
Where was my Gutter Bones here?
Ho!
Only if an opponent lost life this turn. So, yep. This is like, oh, haha, the Rakdos player is down to 1 card in hand. Nope. Sorry.
Pay for a draw card. Pay for a draw card. Pay for a draw card.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think I want to live.
That's kind of neat, though, right? That's cute. I like.
Yeah, that's cheeky. That's almost as cheeky as a Gravecrawler, Phyrexian Altar combo for Judith.
And who knows? We might find other cards that work with that strategy.
Let's go ahead and chase that dream. Blood Crypt.
Yeah, that's an important one.
I mean, does that trump everything else here? I got Rakdos Pit Dragon. This used to do work back. What was this? Like a Sly staple way back?
Was it? I don't remember.
This did work somewhere in the history of Magic and Standard, but I can't remember where. Massive
it seems
raid.
Okay. I wouldn't be unhappy with it in the deck, but I would love a Blood Crypt so I could cast a turn 1.
Yeah. All right, let's do that. Another Blood Rush. Is that even... Do you think that's worth it?
Yeah, I don't know. Might be worth cutting.
Each creature card in opponent's graveyard, so kind of goify. And then this one's got the battalion ability. Target creature or player.
I mean, it does trigger your if it triggers the battalion, it triggers your theater of horrors.
There you go. All right. Yeah, and I think we could use a 2-drop.
Yeah, why not?
Let's go there. All right. Legion Loyalist.
Skull crack.
Destroy 6 target creatures. Like, is Hex viable here?
I want it to be.
It's like a Wrath. It's basically a Wrath, isn't it?
Yeah, but you have to hit 6, right?
You got to hit 6. Yeah. What
You have
I
to
mean,
hit like, but sometimes you can hit everything except your best creatures, right?
yeah. And then I see
I don't.
Skullcrack, and
I
I'm
like
like,
it.
this is,
Yeah, I like Skullcrack. I like Seal of Fire, and even Legion Loyalist. I think all of those are better.
uh, like our critter count. How are we doing here? I think our critter count's strong.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think we can focus on the removal here. So
That only hits players. It doesn't hit creatures.
okay.
But I mean, if you still want it, it's still a fine card. I played it in limited all the time.
No, you know what? We got a lot of extort in the deck right now. I think with that kind of if we're already hitting the face, I think we should probably I think we need to do removal. So it's either Hex or Seal of
I prefer Seal of Fire because I don't know if we're going to be getting this 6 mana with this deck.
Yeah.
Might want to keep it simple.
Oh, there's a red black. There we go.
I love this this one. This Guild Mage.
We can put that let's see. Yeah, I think here we go. Guild Mage, because the Guild Mage gives us a little token, and then
you can discard gutter bones to it. Yeah, and you can make it the token, and it's a black red token or red.
Red token, but still, it's like, I mean, it doesn't get us a draw, but sacrifice a creature. If it was those 2 damage, the creature was sacrificed was red. I mean, even then, it's like here's your little pinger, and it's like, are they gonna block it, or they just decide to let it through? And then you're like, do this, and yeah, okay.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
I like it a lot. All right. Only one in our colors. Unleash. Yeah, vanilla unleash.
It'll have haste.
It'll have haste. And then round the bend here. Okay, so no. Is this like triple black gonna? We're already on 1 triple black, basically. We're going Rakdos. We've got a triple black in 6. Like Glean Crawler is cheeky.
The thing is, I don't think that there's a better card for us in here anyway, so we might as well take it and then worry about it when we actually start building the deck.
All right, Night Veil it is.
Ooh, that one's cute.
Turn permanency control gained. Okay.
Including your lands, right?
Wait. Yeah. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? That's bananas.
It's so good.
Oh
it was a slam bomb, I think, in the original format. In the original draft.
Cow. That's hilarious.
So mean. And you can kill the creatures with it too, right?
Yeah, target creature player. It's like I'm gonna go Selesnya tokens and splash 1 red for this.
You have 2 death touch creatures, don't you?
You
have at least 1, this pestilent spirit.
That we will likely. I don't know. I know we got a good amount of menace. We have something that we can give a creature death touch.
Oh yeah, but then it costs mana to do it. Just the 1. If we see another one, let's prioritize a death touch creature at this point.
That sounds like a good plan. That's another 6-drop. That's a bit pricey. Tax you as controller loses 1 life. Ooh. Or
yeah, this is the worst card in the cube.
This oath.
Yeah. Pretty cute though. Come on. It's pretty adorable.
Who's the cutest little oaf?
Who's the cute wolf in his red dress? Who looks so good?
I'm a pretty little princess. No, God, no. All right. Then we go Massive Raid because that's in our colors. And now we're just picking the stuff that there.
I think that. Legion Loyalist and Skullcrack and Hex.
Oh, okay. We got to go with whatever's going to fit the bill here.
I mean, I think we're gonna play a 1-drop every time, but we'd play Skullcrack too. I'll veto a Hex. I don't want Hex.
Okay, no Hex. Let's. I don't even have any dice on fan here. Shame on me. All right. Let's.
Your call, man. You know what? We're not taking this to the Pro Tour, so.
Okay, let's smash face. Skullcrack.
Yeah. I played that in Modern Burn.
Let's play an artifact. And click.
Get rid of their 1-drop?
Yeah. Steal the 1-drop. And a Bloodthirst. How do we miss this guy? Yeah. All right. And there it is.
There we go.
Oh, I have to log in. Let's see. Do I remember my information? What's happening? All right, let me see if I can log in. We can take a quick better look at this. Yeah, there we go. There it is. All right. Sweet. Okay. Here's our 45. What are the cuts? Do you think Lean Crawler is too expensive? Nope.
What I usually like to do is I start with just picking the cards that 100% make the deck, like the cards that I want to build around. I don't know if you like to do it that way or not, but like I would pull that Flame Fuselage. I would like the Seal of Fire.
Should I just put them all into the sideboard here and just kind of like we'll start from scratch, that kind of thing? Or what do you think?
Sure. Yeah. You're putting the cards in the deck though.
Oh.
Everything's already in the sideboard.
Oh, never mind. Oh, okay. So I haven't used Cube Tutor in a very, very long time.
That's okay. Yeah. Okay. So I would.
Let's see. All right. So land wise, all the land goes in except for the Guildgate or the Boros, right?
I wouldn't put the Ghost Quarter in.
No.
In the main.
Actually, is it worth? We don't really have anything worth splashing for white, do we? No. So
this is Aristocrat. I don't think we need to.
No.
So I would pull the Seal of Fire, the Thrill, the Gutter Bones. Then next one, Burning Tree. Who else do you want to play? The Basilica. Screecher. Squealing Devil.
This is a fun little card draw. Death Touch when they think they're safe. What do the bracers do anyway?
Whenever an ability of an equipped creature is activated, you copy it. So if it was on the Guild Mage, when you activate it, it triggers it twice on Guild Mages.
Do you think we have enough activated abilities for creatures to do this, or is it just like
Lizolda triggers twice?
Right.
When you sack.
We might as well put the Blood Witch in there and Lizolda.
The Pestilent Spirit, Char. Rakdos Guild Mage.
Splatter Thug.
Theater of Horrors, I think, is pretty safe. We're going to probably want to play that. Spawn of Mayhem. The Bloodfray Giant and the Flame Fusillade, sorry.
Fusillade. What are we at? There's the deck's got
15. So we need 8 more cards. Let's look at those 2-drops. Yeah, maybe that.
This guy. And
you gotta play that for sure.
Because we do have a Golgari Rot farm. So
of course, there you go.
Of course. So there it is. There, 10th Street Hooligan makes it into there. Yep.
6 more cards: Bomber Core and the Rakdos Gill Mage, I think, and Skullcrack.
This is
No,
maybe that's sideboard for if somebody's going all graveyard
I mean,
shenanigans.
yeah, it's true, but I think it's also just a pretty reasonable card. Like, you're never gonna, even if you do cast it on turn 2, it doesn't die, right? Like, it gets bigger
Mm-hmm.
as happen. So it's not the worst. We need
Well, that's
2
at
more.
24. Do we?
I like these 2 3 drops that you're highlighting here.
Oh, right. I keep forgetting. Like we've got those. This counting those lands. So we've got, these guys.
Yeah, that's 23. If you want to play 24, we can keep looking. What's the hissing miasma?
Hissing miasma. Whenever a creature attacks you, its controller loses 1 life. It feels like this real passive aggressive pillow fort thing, but I don't know if does that
It's
work?
not us. That's an Orzhov thing for sure.
Yeah. And even though we've got the extort, that's more to kind of bring certain things online.
Yeah. So I think this last pick's up to you. You got some good options. You could play that Gleam Crawler that you wanted, or the Nightfell Spectre, or the Blade Brand. Right? Those are the only, maybe Death's Approach. But I think those are the ones. Like, this is a pretty good deck. I would be really happy with this deck.
I think Blade Brand. I think like
Yeah, let's do it.
at this point, like the double reds and double blacks is probably as far as it should go. We go triple blacks. It's just
Yeah,
that ends up being that dead card. You're like, oh, why did I do that? When this one can actually draw you into stuff.
exactly.
So that's some yeah. Mm-hmm. I like where that's going. I like that we got I like this. The
Yeah.
Spawn of Mayhem. Oh god, I wish
very much about the Spawn of Mayhem and the Theater of Horrors. We've got really good synergies.
Yeah,
Like,
and with the new Mulligan rule, we'll be able to get to those synergies.
with the card that you just added in, the Blade Brand, it also works really well with the Bomber Core because you can deal 1 damage to any target when it attacks with
Yeah, and it draws. I was like, that's the other thing. As much as I love Rakdos, that was always the thing I had to worry about was the fact that card draw in black red is can be sketchy if you're not if you don't get the right stuff or you don't have the right kind of build because your draw is pretty much all in black and red's just trying to smash face. So that's some. I like that. All right.
Yeah, I'm happy with this deck. That was awesome. This was a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. That's pretty sweet.
Did you have a like, I don't know how much more you had planned? It's like 10.
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock. People have lives and stuff. Let me see my final tally questions here. So I guess a few things we figured out. Well, we already figured out what Planeswalker you're gonna show up dressed up as the Bloodfray Giant. So we know what the cosplay is going to be. Now signets, cluestones, lockets, like
Signets are the best ones, I think.
Always will be, and I wish they would come back to it, like, but
because they actually ramp you. You know, like they put you so far ahead on turn like 2, right?
Yeah,
they drop before the other ones do.
So I definitely I don't know, like for some reason the lockets felt like they operated better than the cluestones, which doesn't make any sense because they cost more to actually operate in terms of getting a card draw.
I think the lockets are great. I really like them. I think that the format's too fast in an all Ravnica cube for them, but I could see some decks that would want to play them for sure.
So, all right. I think that's it. We had a quick little breakdown of Ravnica Cube, even though it took me forever to get my computer up and running.
But it was fun. I really liked this project, and who knows? It actually kind of like when I was drafting it, it made me want to build it in real life. I don't know if I ever will, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate having you on. This is really awesome. If I ever get my technology figured out, yeah, it would be great to have this bouncing back and forth. So Milo, thank you very much for joining me on the Carnarium. I This was a blast, and I will definitely be. I'll have to draft this a few more times and definitely try it out. But
And if you want to draft it, go ahead. The link is in the description.
yes, I'm gonna clean up that description and it'll look like I actually organized everything. So you've got the link in the cube. You've linked to this cube in the description of this video. By all means, check it out. And then be sure to check out Milo's channel, Flock of Nerds, and all the stuff he does with Milo. Do you have any new? I know, like at least once a year, you do like a cube championship series. Do you have anything coming up?
I do that in the winter. We did it at Manipool this year, and Miguel won. I am doing. I'm planning like a local fundraiser, but it's going to be a pretty cool event. There's going to be some other YouTubers there, and we're going to play Keep What You Draft Cube.
Whoa.
And we're going to play Chaos Drafts and Conspiracy Drafts. Original Conspiracy, you're going to fire for $10. So
wow.
It's going to be on May 19th, and it's going to be a really good time.
What's the location? Is that
that's going to be it's going to be the Bedford Academy in Toronto. But I'm going to make a video. There's going to be a lot more details in the future. But
sweet.
That's what I'm working on right now.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Milo, for joining us. This was an awesome little look into the world of Ravnica Theme Cube. And tell everybody where we can find you as far as the Twitters and the YouTubes.
You search for me on YouTube. I'm Milo the Gathering. On Twitter at Milo the Great One, as in the number one. And that's it. That's all.
Okay. And you can find me here or over at Tin Street or on Cardsphere doing a once a month Commander blog. And I even have an Instagram, and that's the thing that happens once in a while. I'm slowly trying to brew by Twitter poll a Joanne EDH deck. So that's a new thought experiment that's on its way. It's very creepy crawly. But yeah, thank you, Milo. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in the chat. I'm sorry I wasn't really interacting much. I was kind of focusing on draft picking here. But by all means, the Carnarium will be kicking around. And as for me, you will find me next week on Tin Street Hooligans. And that's how that's going to go. Thank you for joining us on Cackling Carnarium. And have a great night.